Supplied by Mountford Machine Tools. Supplier of new and used machine tools. Okay, I think the company doesn't exist anymore. We'll Google for it. So we pulled the wires, had most of the bolts out, and go to the other side. Okay, we got 2 bolts left, one here, one here. Put some block underneath and pull it, see what happens. We took the bearing out here. It's that tensioner roller here, but you listen carefully. There is a grease nipple, but as probably all the grease nipples on this machine, they're never seen grease. There is one here which is completely painted over. All the grease nipples here are painted over, so. And I found something else which is concerning. That's rust. It's rust smear stuff. It comes from the bearing up here, so maybe one of the spindle bearings is poor as well. Because interestingly, this grease nipple is clean. Yeah, I think we pulled the spindle bearings as well. I got a feeling that all the bearings are shot on this machine. Doesn't need to be precision bearings. I suspect there are taper bearings. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Let's fix the motor first, and then we'll look after the rest. Well, that's what we have. The key is completely shot. It fits. I think at the top it fits okay. We need to measure it, but we need to make a new one. This is mangled. The problem on the shaft is it did some work on the shaft, mainly on this side, and the key is loose. It was which was it? It's interesting because it has been turned around. Someone must have worked on it. Yeah, it's got a lot of play. It's mainly because it's narrow in the middle, so we need to work on that. Well, it's a 1/4 inch key, which is 6 something millimeters, 6.3 millimeters. It's actually a good quality sprocket. It's made by Renault, 17 teeth, and yeah, it's a bit sharpish, so it's seen some wear, but that's okay. That's standard parts. You can buy them. I don't know what the chain is, but it's a standard chain. You can buy them. I think I know why the oil pump doesn't work. If we run it clockwise, so the spindle, the vertical spindle runs clockwise, the horizontal spindle runs anti-clockwise. So we're actually running in the wrong direction because we have an inversion of the rotation here with this little gear. So the machine runs backwards if we run the vertical spindle, but the oil pump is on the main spindle, and in this case it runs backwards. That's the reason why it doesn't pump. Alright, so it may have never been pumping oil for quite a long time, which is a bad thing. Well, the chains are fairly good actually, so you can't twist them a lot, but yeah, here is the oil pump, and I think that's what it is. It runs backwards. So a set of bigger gears, I don't know, it's just not right. Anyway, that's another problem. We're gonna solve that at some point. Okay, again, it doesn't stop. The project always gets bigger than it's anticipated. Let's take that motor apart and see what we find. Same story here. Old grease. At least we know the shaft size now. It's 1 inch. So the outer diameter is 2.5 inch and the shaft is, yeah, the caliper is what I want. Shaft is 1 inch. So we need the bearing 2.5 by 1. They are fairly cheap, they're about £5, $7 each. I think it was a part once at least. But that was my major concern, what are the bearing size, because I couldn't really measure it at the rear, but these are standard bearings apparently, 2.5 by 1, and we're gonna order some. So we take it fully apart and give it a good clean, and get rid of all the gunk. This is well impregnated here. They don't make things like that anymore. I like that motor. I generally like old motors. They just well made. What you get nowadays is usually rubbish because it comes from overseas, and we've seen that recently in the last Tamiya motor series with these Chinese motors. Can't compare it up. This has less than half the power of that blue one. Yeah, anyway, let's take it apart. So here we got it. It says number 38017 B6 is the mounting, I think. 1440 and 690 RPM. Intermittent 1 hour is the duty cycle. Okay. 400 volts. So it's interesting. Why is it 400 volts and not 415? Because if it's an old motor, it should be 415. Except it was in a factory which had 400 volts. Who knows? Winding looks good so far to me. Hasn't seen a lot of gunk. It needs cleaning, but it's technically okay, I think. Yeah, it's an old motor. That's what it is. But the front bearing, put the camera case on the housing here. You can probably hear it. It's as short as the other one, and you can see the rotor was rubbing here and here, mainly here, which is always a bad sign. That means the bearings are really short. Where's my flashlight? Gone again. It's late. But I wanted to see the bearing size. Here you can see it was rubbing, especially here at the back. Don't know if it's visible on camera. In this area where the center of the light is, it was rubbing. Really old fashioned, as it did in the old days. This is actually wood. There's a spacer which pushes the windings down, and then it's impregnated with some tar or whatever. It's tough stuff. Good insulation. But that makes it, for me it makes it a 50s motor, because I don't think it's a pre-war machine because of the ball bearings. Really hard to tell. If anyone knows, I think I mentioned that before, if anyone knows anything about this machine, whatever you know would be much appreciated, because I couldn't find anything on the internet. This machine doesn't exist. The company was dissolved in the 60s, I think. I found another source which is 49. Would make it a 1940s machine. I don't know. At the moment I have no other evidence of the age apart from the motor. It's all made in England. That's all I know. Anyway, we know what bearing size it is, and we need to work on that shaft on the keyway. Okay. We just got a delivery. We bought another bearing puller. Chinesium, obviously. £20, $25 or so. You can't beat that, because I only had this size and I needed a bigger size for my motor. So we're gonna pull the bearing, or the bearings, and see if it's any good. I don't need it very often, and you know, a quality brand is about 150, so I can buy 7 or so of that one for one good one, and probably use it 10 times a year or so. We'll see if it lasts. So that's how it comes together. Always use a center saver, just a thick washer. It's a bit tight. Could it be a bit bigger, but that's the biggest one I have at the moment. So let's try it and see if it comes out. It seems it's going to be moving. I need to hold that somehow and hold the camera at the same time. That's difficult. Yeah, we do it with the impact. Let me do it this way. There you go. Comes out quite nicely. Alright, I need to get rid of the camera now. So, and that's your retainer, which is held with these 3 screws. If you mount it later, you just stick a long bolt and then you'll find the hole. And see, you use the washer as a center saver, and our center still looks good. If you oil the puller a little bit, helps a lot. Sorry, compressor's running. Just that impact takes a lot of, yeah, it's eaten some water. Anyway, off. Next one. So here we got a little bit of a different challenge. This is a spacer. I don't know what the size of that spacer is, and the shaft is 1 inch as well, so maybe that's a bigger bearing. We'll pull it and see. Normally the bearing is bigger than the shaft, but who knows what they did in the old days. Yeah, we had to put extension studs on. Makes it all a bit flimsy, but we'll try it. Well, we're having some fun here. I already bent Chinesium bolts here on the press. 10 tons was a bit too much. This thing doesn't move. I thought it moved a little bit, but not really. This collar seems to be stuck. I can't move it. So what I'm gonna do, I measure the dimensions and put it on the lathe and just turn it down, because it's supposed to be loose on the shaft, but it does not move. There's a big burr here, so who knows what happened. That's the plan for now, because yeah, there might be a thread underneath, but there is nothing to grab it, and that's easy to make. We just measure it and then we'll see. I know it's hard to see, but there is a gap and there's no ring or whatever. I can't see a thread. It didn't move, not even a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do. We turn it down. It's just a spacer, nothing serious. It's only filling the space, and you can feel there's a really big burr here. Maybe someone pounded on it, who knows. Yeah, that bearing seems to be older as well, so maybe someone tried it and couldn't get it off, who knows. Well, we're stretching the capacity of the small lathe to the limit. I'm really at the end of the bed here. Center is fully in, so that's about it. Measure the distance and the length, and then we'll turn it down. A short moment I thought it's probably a bigger one, but it's not. This says MS10, and it says MS10 here as well, once I turn it down. Interestingly, these are called MS8 or something like that. They must have changed the names, or this is RMS8. That's 1 inch diameter, 1 inch inner diameter, and 2.5 inch outer diameter. Width is 3/4. Check the width. Yeah, width is 3/4. It's the same bearing, same as this one. So we need to turn that down to 1 inch. It does look like a bushing. I was just not sure before I turned too much off. I'm on just over 1 1/4, 1 1/8, but the inner race is not big enough, so let's carry on. I need to hand feed because I got still the change gears for threading in it, so the feed is a bit too fast. I need to change some. Anyway, let's carry on. So here we have it. That's the remains of it. It's just split off, and it's a 1 inch bearing. So either it moves now or not. It's clean inside. By that color. Ah, there's a burr here. You probably need to dress that a little bit. Now there's a big burr here. That couldn't move. There's no way. Alright, let's lap that a little bit and then we'll try to move it. So we polished it a little bit to get it moving. Once it's moving, I don't want to polish anything out here because it's a bit small anyway, so we'll see what we do. And there are no taper lock bushes available for that sprocket size. A bit of a burr here as well. Maybe once we get it moving you can actually get closer and put some more force in. Anyway, let's try that. It's warm now, so leave it till tomorrow and then press it off. Alright, that's it for today. It's late, dinner time. Carry on tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time.